There we go. Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here Thursday evening. Had a little bit of a camera problem there. I couldn't get the camera to work. I think I finally have it working. This is just an open forum. You're welcome to ask any kind of questions you would like, and I'll do my very best to respond, come up with some answers, see what's going on. Whether you want to talk about things happening in the state of Utah, real estate, or maybe even things that are happening in the United States. Like if you're joining us from another country and you've got questions in general about the United States, I'd be glad to answer them too. So the best of my ability. In the state of Utah right now, we actually had some winter weather come through, hit the whole state, north to south. Brought some snow. Ski resorts are absolutely loving it. So most years in general, if they can get some snowfall before Thanksgiving, they are happy if they can open the resorts for the Thanksgiving holiday. That is their general goal. But, we are November 1st, some snowfall. And so ski resorts are happy. And it's going to change. It's going to warm back up a little bit here. But potentially next week, we might get a little bit more. It's good. We need the snowfall. We need the water. So much needed. So it was great. Good evening. Hey, Mike, how about the snow yesterday? The Wasatch looks great. Yes. Snow, a little bit of snow. So pretty much if you are joining us from outside of Utah, in general, along most of the cities from, say, Ogden down to Provo, received snowfall, but not really on the roads. It was more of a rain slush mixture. It did accumulate in the grass. Now, it depends on where you're at. If you are located further up the mountain a little bit on the east side of town, they did receive some more snowfall. Now, if you're in the higher elevations, like the Park City area, Deer Valley area, yes, they received snow that covered the roads. So that's just in general. Areas like just outside of Cedar City received a lot of snowfall. The roads were really bad, a lot of slide-offs in that area. That Beaver County area is always, it's got such high elevation. It's a tough time coming back from Las Vegas to Salt Lake City through that area. You always have to be very, very cautious. But yeah, hey, I welcome the weather. It's, I'm a winter sports guy too. So yeah, it'd be great to go skiing a couple times this year. I only go a few times a year. I'm not as big of a skier as I was when I was younger, but hey, that leads me into my to my article. Will Salt Lake City be hosting the Winter Olympics? It's getting a little bit closer. I think I picked up like some sinus problem or something like that this week too. So it is the landscape is looking a little bit better towards Salt Lake City potentially hosting the Olympics in 2030 or 2034. Vancouver has pulled out of the running. There aren't many cities left in the running for the Olympics, and Vancouver has pulled out. So it does increase Salt Lake's bid. Vancouver does not want to spend the money that it'll take to obtain the Olympics. So it's looking more like, and I don't know if we would get 2030 with the Summer Olympics coming to the United States. I don't know if they would award Salt Lake City to 2030. So pretty much the only competition I think we have in the race is Japan. So, but maybe 2034. I'm not too sure. 2028 is when the summer games will be in LA. So maybe they will not want to come back to the United States for the winter games. I'm not too sure. 100%. Not on that committee, but I would love to have the Olympics back here. I love the Olympics when we had them in 2002. It was a fantastic time. I would love to have host the Olympics again. If we do host the Olympics again, and when we're talking about real estate prices, that's what happened in 2002. After the Olympics, more people moved to the state of Utah. And what I noticed was before 2002, we did not have a lot of like vacation rentals in places like Park City and Deer Valley and Huntsville and Eden. We had a few, but after the Olympics, the construction just boomed in all those areas with timeshares, condos, townhomes, that people wanted to have a second home or a vacation home. So I anticipate if we do host the Olympics again, that growth will continue. So people come to the state of Utah, and some people will like it. Some people may not like it. And some of the people who do like it will consider possibly moving here, especially if they are in a career that has locations here and like, hey, we liked it there. We'll transfer our job to the Salt Lake City area. And that happened many times, many times. So I would love to have the Olympics here. It would be a great time. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, it's looking very good. Yeah, so the 2030 race is down to Salt Lake City and I think it's called Sapporo, Japan. So only 2 cities left in the running. So if we don't get it in, say, 2030, I have why they would not award it to us in 2034. I wouldn't imagine there's a lot of countries that are going to jump into the put their name in the hat to host it. So that's a good shot that we may be getting the Winter Olympics. So any questions this evening I can answer? Everybody's gearing up for the elections next week, midterm elections. I'm kind of interested in a few of the races myself. See what's going to happen. Anybody got any opinion on how the voter turnout will be, and will it be dominated by Republicans or Democrats? So we'll see. It's definitely very interesting. There is a lot of interest around the country. Seems to be a lot of people are heading to vote. So, and I really like that. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, your vote counts. And I'm glad to see people going to the polling stations and casting their vote. Hello from Algeria. How's Algeria doing? How's the weather in Algeria? Probably sunny and 75, would be my guess. But yeah, it's great to see what's happening with the voter turnout. But as far as the state of Utah goes, we are still doing very well. Our unemployment numbers are very low. We are experiencing inflation, just like the rest of the country. We are possibly heading into a recession. Home prices have come down. We have not seen the job losses, though. Not in the state of Utah. You don't really hear about the job losses. It's still pretty strong. So we'll see. We'll see. Not too sure how it is in some other states as far as jobs go, but in the state of Utah, it's still a booming, still booming with jobs. And a lot of companies still moving here and hiring and expanding in record numbers. So we'll see how that continues if we do pop into a recession. It's a little different, I think, is this particular recession is a global recession. Many countries in the United Kingdom today, Bank of England raised their interest rates by 0.75% also, just like we did in the United States yesterday. And they anticipate to continue raising the interest rates, but they did have a little glimmer of hope saying that the interest rate the amount that they do raise it with their next meeting, I think is in December, probably will not be as high as 0.75%. That's what they're anticipating. So I don't know. I personally, I think that they waited too long, and it seems to be what they do. It just like when they lowered the rates, I think they lowered them too fast, too low at one go, instead of lowering them a little bit and see how it affects the economy. And same with when they're raising the rates. Are we raising it too fast to get an idea of how things are going to change down the road? So, and we might be stuck next year with these high interest rates, and then inflation goes back down, but we are at a high inflation or interest rate environment. So that's what I worry about a little bit. I don't lose any sleep over it, but that's how it goes. But yeah, we're kind of a global recession, so it's a little different how it is affecting a lot of countries. And Europe this winter will be difficult. They're already talking in France, Italy, Germany, 3-hour blackouts to conserve on power and gas to heat the homes. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that. England's also talking about cutting back. So how about gas price? Is it still rising? No, it's not rising in the United States. In the United States, our president has opened up the oil reserves, which floods the market with more oil. It's kind of a controversial topic in the United States because at some point that oil reserve has to be replenished, which will cost a lot of money. And at what price will they be refilling those tanks at? But gas prices have pretty much stabilized in the United States. We're hovering. We're not as high as we were. So here in the state of Utah, I think we went up probably about $4.75 per gallon, $4.75, $4.80, somewhere around there. We're down around $4.10, $4.15 right now. We were below $4, about $3.99, $3.98, somewhere around there. It's bounced back up a little bit. It didn't stay below $4 for very long at all. But right now we're just above $4. So we are going down a little bit, but nowhere near. Just a couple of years ago, we were in the $2 range. So that's for the United States in general, by the way. Yeah, it's still up there, but it's not only that. Everything is in the United States. Everything has gone up. Grocery prices are through the roof. You go to the store and buy everyday items, cereal, milk, bread. You're seeing increases on everything. I doubt I'll ever see 2.75 rate again in my lifetime. You're probably correct. I have the exact same feeling. That was, I sat here on Thursday evenings a year ago and said we are at historically low rates we may never see again. So I always felt there was only one way we could go, and that would be up. So I didn't feel it was. There were people out there that said we were going to go to 0%. It did not happen. We would like to move to a smaller place, but it doesn't make sense to buy in this market. Yeah, it really depends on someone's situation. I'm just as busy as I was earlier in the year. Pretty much the theme right now is my take on it with some of the people I work with. A lot of people are buying down their interest rate. They feel that the long-term investment is worth it. And currently in the state of Utah, I mean, you'll pay $2,500 a month for a rental on a house. So you figure $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year. Real quick math, I think it's about $30,000. So about $30,000. And the general consensus is people feel like I don't want to put $30,000 into rent over the next year with the possibility that maybe we'll have higher interest rates, but maybe the prices go down by 30,000. So the consensus is there's still people out there buying. There are a lot of people too that are on the sidelines or have been priced out of the market. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to portray that it's all rosy and everybody's out there buying. But first-time home buyers, I think, are the ones that are being hit the hardest. Some of them folks are sitting on the sidelines. It's typically people who have owned real estate in the past that are maybe moving here that are looking at purchasing in Utah. I think that some people have a hard time. Once they've owned a home, they have a hard time going into a rental. They're used to having their own house. They can do whatever they want. They can change the paint colors. They can have 4 dogs. Well, if the city will allow you, they can do what they want. And the thought of, having to like answer to a landlord and maybe live under somewhat of rules, they're not too keen on. And they're not too keen on seeing their monthly payment going towards nothing, as where when you own, a percentage of your payment goes towards principal and you're building some equity. So that's pretty much what I would say some of the buyers are in the market right now. So, all right. Do you think Mike Lee will win? Wow. That has got to be Mike Lee against McMullen has to be one of the hottest or most talked about races in the country. I'm not too sure if you're living in the state of Utah right now, but our TV ads, radio ads, internet is packed full. I mean, millions and millions of dollars are being spent in this state on ads for the two individuals. And it's very ugly. It's very, very ugly. Whether or not Mike Lee will win, that's a tough one. I can tell you, talking to a lot of people in the state, some people are torn. Some people do not want to vote for Mr. McMullen because they feel that they know that all this money that's coming into his campaign is probably from the Democrats. And when the votes come to be made with items at Capitol Hill, that they're going to call in and say, hey, we need your vote. And he will probably not be like a true independent. That's the consensus I get. There are a lot of people in the state of Utah not happy with Mike Lee. I think some people will not vote at all in the state of Utah for either candidate but then I think some people will vote for Mike Lee just to put one more Republican in to help the country. So it's very tough. It's a very close run race. And it's too close to call, I would say. I would say. And this happened to me last week. The first time ever it's happened to me. I got a phone call. And it was from the McMullen campaign. And they started out real nice and said, did you get your mail-in ballot? Yes, I did. And do you plan on voting? I said, yes, correct. And the lady said, well, I want to talk to you about the McMullen campaign. I said, lady, I don't think this is appropriate and I don't think this is right. Well, I'm not going to ask who you're voting for. And I said, I think the whole phone call is inappropriate. So I have never been contacted on my phone by a political party. I've had text messages sent to me, but I have never been contacted by the office of a candidate. So it's a big race. So I was not comfortable with the phone call. I think someone's vote, it should be private and should be, I wasn't too. Hello, Max. How are you doing? Hope this doesn't mean the state is turning purple. No, McMullen is a independent. That's what he calls himself. There's a lot of money being spent, and I'm in the same kind of vote as some people, thinking that, the money's coming from the Democratic Party. And I know very well that when you need an individual's vote and you call him on the phone and say, because you know him very well, if you're donating money to his campaign, you know him very well, you're going to say, hey, we supported you during your race and we need your vote. So it could be a vote for depends what side you're on. So, but yeah, it's very interesting what's going to happen. Yeah. I'd like to see a lot of things sorted out, but oh no. And with, they're projecting right now, the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate, possibly. I don't know what they'll be able to do if they do take that with the presidential vote. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But it's a very interesting time. I'm so thankful that Americans are going out to vote. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, very few people turned out to vote. Maybe in the big general election. But I'm glad to see voter turnout very, very high in all states. So go out there and cast your vote, and it makes a difference. So yeah, pleased to see more people taking an interest in what's going on in the country and going out there and vote. So I'm very pleased with that as a country. Any more questions this evening? I guess we'll find out next Thursday who wins some of the races. I'll keep people in tune, and the Utah one will be very interesting too when Mitt Romney comes up for a vote. If he runs again, I'm not too sure. I haven't heard anything either way, but he is not as well liked in the state of Utah, and I think nationally, as what he once was. So it'd be interesting to see if somebody runs against him and how that goes. So that'll be very interesting when that time comes. Maybe Mr. Romney, this is it. Maybe he's had enough and he's going to retire. I'm not too sure. I do not talk to him on the phone on a regular basis. Rhino Romney. So yeah, he's changed over the years. So I've known Mr. Romney since the Winter Olympics in 2002. Actually, before that, probably 2001. I had conversations with the man back then in 2001. I thought he was a great person, got along with him very well. I respected him. I thought he was highly intelligent. He ran the Olympics, did a great job, a fantastic job. I like the man. I think he went to Massachusetts, became the governor of Massachusetts. He left the state of Utah, and then things have changed over the last so many years. So my opinion on Mr. Romney is different than what it was back when I knew him around the Olympic time. So we'll see. Any more questions this evening before I call it an evening? It has been great. I appreciate all the questions. And I hope everybody will have a great weekend. And I'll see you again next Thursday. Thank you.